All right, the other topic I wanted to get into tonight is the topic of the stream, which is can you skip the 42 uncommon ships in today's Star Trek Fleet Command? And I believe the answer is yes. Yes, you can. If you're a big PvP person, well, then no, you probably can't. But if you're not really super heavy into PvP, and again, even then, you probably, even if you are, Carol Freeman's kind of the rule breaker on that one a little bit, and you can punch up with all different kinds of ships. So you might even still be able to do that and work around it. Um, the bigger advantage of the 42 uncommons is that they have a little more hull health, a little higher power values, and things like that compared to some of the specialty ships, because a lot of the specialty ships are ops locked. At certain milestones, you run into things where you need a special component, which you can only get when you reach a certain level. Defiant has it, Talios has it, you know, other ships as well. But Voyager is a little bit different. And I believe that Voyager will successfully let you skip the 42 uncommon ships. I've been doing it now for a little while here, but let's just pull over some stuff and compare some stats here. So, my Voyager currently is tier 6. That's where I've gotten mine. But even before then, I was using it pretty successfully at tier 5. So let's pull these back up here for a second. All right, so we've got our Valdore. If you take the... Let's do this side by side. Why are we doing it this way? Let's make our lives easier. There's that one. There's that one. Yeah. Drag them down. If we just look at a standard tier 4 versus tier 4. Obviously, the Valdore over here on the right looks like it's got a lot higher power level and a lot higher DPR compared to Voyager right off the bat. And you're thinking this isn't even going to be close. But Voyager has a lot of extra bonuses hidden in the research. And if you can do the research, you can make up a lot of the power difference for hostile grinding and things like that. Also, big thing to take a peek at, just going through tier 1 through tier 4 we're looking at. The cost difference between the two of them is significant. Voyager takes a lot more tritanium to upgrade than the Valdore would. But it takes a lot less of this uncommon gas. 5,000 compared to 28,000. Huge, significant decrease. You also don't have to use any ore. And you're not using 4-star uncommon parts through the first 4 tiers of Voyager. Huge, huge difference. You can keep this ore around to help you progress ops levels, help you do other research. You can stockpile these ship parts, save them for the higher tiers when you're going to need them more often. The only real drawback is this large amount of tritanium that it costs to upgrade components. As far as the DPR, you can see it's significantly lower, but like I said, Voyager has some very strong research, which we'll go pull up here. Ships. I don't want to do that. I want to go back to home. Let's go to research. Voyager Tactics, I believe, is the one. Yeah. Increases base damage dealt to hostiles with the USS Voyager, starting right at base level 1, giving you a 300% damage bonus. And by Ops 40, you can take that up all the way to level 4, which is giving you a 700% bonus. You gotta get to 43 for the next one, but once you do, now you're getting a 1,000% damage bonus to Voyager, which I believe will significantly make up for the fact that it was doing much less DPR than the Valdore. The other key thing that I like about this is Voyager is going to carry with you a lot longer. A lot of people get, that tier 4 uncommon. They get it to, tier 4, tier 5, and then they kind of start, the cost, it gets too costly. The cost to go from tier 4 to tier 5, you're talking about another 30,000 gas for one tier, 70,000 parts. These aren't as hard as they used to be to get, but they're still, challenging. And when, obviously, research is going to lower these things, but these costs are still a lot. And a lot of people, this is where they kind of start to fizzle out on upgrading this thing, going from 4 to 6. If you wanted to take it all the way to 6, well, now you're looking at 70,000 gas, 170,000 ship parts. It's a lot of upgrading. And you're only getting, your Valdoran probably for a lot of people into the low 20s as far as like overall power, 20 million, 20 and a half, 25 million, somewhere in that range. So obviously some of the efficiencies and things carry over and will help lower these costs, but those same efficiencies, some of them will also help over here. And going from tier 4 to tier 6, you're talking about half the ship parts, talking about the same amount of gas here. And now you're starting to get into a little bit of rare gas as well. But you're also getting a lot more value out of Voyager for the long run. Again, DPR starting to make up some ground here. This has started to slow down a little bit. It was 130 to 50. Now it's 160 to almost 90. So we're making up a little ground here. And the other cool thing about Voyager is the warp range is so, this is not much, but it's in the research as well. I mean, everybody's got a Voyager that's a ridiculously high warp, right? We're all warp like 300. What's it? Antimatter recycler. Bumping up your warp range. You're adding 175 by tier 40, so you're already well over warp 200, which is going to cover all of G4 space and even get you into G5 space. What kind of warp range are you looking at over here? Where'd it go? Not getting a whole lot of bonuses out of it. You're looking at 140, 150 maybe, somewhere in that range. If you add Angel in Disguise to both of them, you get a little more, but 150 isn't even getting you all the way through all of the G4 systems. So I'm really coming around to the idea and the notion that you can skip this ship, save the ship parts, save the materials, use them to level up buildings and do research and things like that, and save the ship parts more for, when you get to 46, save the faction credits for getting to 46 and getting one of those done. Let's see what you guys think. You killed a Valdore with your Voyager nuts? Well, see, there you go. Congrats on that. G4 would really help get to 46 quicker, efficiency depending, of course. Possibly. Yeah, having the extra materials would certainly help you level up more buildings faster. If you don't have to spend, how much extra, 30,000 extra ore? I mean, what are we talking about here? Going from tier 1 to tier 6 between the two ships. You're saving 44,000 ore, possibly, potentially, that you would then have to do all those buildings that they make you upgrade, all those vaults and warehouses that they, refineries and things that you don't care about, but they keep making you stop and upgrade every couple of levels. That would certainly be beneficial to have all those materials back. And if we're thinking about, I got kicked out again. Let's go look at some stuff here. You took the Valdore to level 6 so you could upgrade the cube. Now that's going to be something people are going to talk about, is not being able to upgrade their cube. But you can eventually circle back and make up for it. Because where is that little chart? Where's the cube requirement chart? There it is. So, yes, obviously, if you skip getting to that tier 6 of this Valdore here, your cube is going to be stuck at tier 5 for a little bit. Until you get to 46 and you get that G4 rare and you get it up to tier 4. Nope, also tier 6. I'm reading the wrong column. Now you'll have more materials left over, you'll have more ship parts left over for whatever ship you pick to give it the head start. But yes, you are losing out on a tier of your cube. However, tier 5 is kind of the sweet spot to keep it in because it's one of the few tiers that I found so far where you can actually, you know, kill one thing in a system and then zap another thing. Tier 5 is kind of that sweet spot. You know, you're killing a 41 in a system, getting 100% juice on the cutting beam, and then zapping a 39 and getting the max value of your technological distinctiveness. No warping back and forth between systems, no farming multiple kills to get your beam charged up. It's just a one-for-one exchange. So being stuck at tier 5 isn't necessarily a bad thing. And, well, we know the cube is never going to be your best ship. It's always going to be, at best, your second best ship for a while. So you can kind of push that to the side and hold that back for a little bit. Yeah, tier 5 is the sweet spot. It kind of really is. So, you know, being forced to stay there might actually be saving you from yourself a little bit. Now, like I said, the downside to Voyager and the tricky part with upgrading it is the cost of the components, because a lot of these cost a ridiculous amount of tritanium to upgrade. It does make it very difficult to keep this thing moving along. But if you are someone who does spend a little bit and you get packs that have tritanium in them, you do the monthly pack, that's going to be easier to do it. If you have a monavine, you're going to be able to source this easier, because even at the very basics, we're going to go over to our STFC officer tool again. By the way, for those of you not using this, STFC officer tool, charts, indexes, bam, what do I need? I need information about the monavine. Oh, well, what do you know? It's right here. You should all be part of that Discord. Make your lives easier, people. Where is my monavine? Bam, there it is. Queen's Favor Exchange. All right, so even the basics. Your monavine is tier 1 and you are low level, level 40 to 42, somewhere in this range. You're getting, even just doing the one chest Queen's Favor, one day exchange every day, you're getting 290 to 370 million tritanium. It's going to make those upgrades a lot smoother. A lot smoother if you can get your hands on a monavine. So if you happen to be in a territory or you get half of it from an event store, hop alliances to get the rest of it for a couple weeks, hop back and forth on Tuesdays, whatever, where there's no territory takeovers to worry about, like we used to do with the jellyfish, to get your claim in. Wait for next event store to come around, whatever the case may be. Being able to pick up large quantities of this will definitely make your life easier. Dr. Iron Chef, thank you for renewing your subscription. And Polak, thank you very much for your follow earlier. I missed that. I apologize about that. Now, obviously some research can help lower the cost of this kind of stuff, if you can get it done. I know I've got quite a bit of research still left in my territory tree to catch up on. Well, not too much, but a little bit here and there. And throwing in 300 bits too. Thank you very much, Dr. Iron Chef. I appreciate that. Hitting that magic number, so Twitch throws in the extra 30. Happy holidays, sir. Thank you for throwing that in there. Samo, thanks for stopping by and lurking. I know it's early for you, so I appreciate you popping on in. Yeah, it's in the territory tree. You got to get a bunch of stuff caught up to keep this one here, this optimized ship upgrades one. But anything you can do here will help lower the cost of that tritanium. But I've got like 5 researches to do to catch up on that. All right, so let's do this. And let's go ahead and kind of just force this through. First things first, let's use an exocomp, which I should have done before I did that one, but research speed, there we go. Every little bit helps. Yep, there's definitely artifacts and stuff too. We're going to get to that in a minute. Cargo research. Now I can do that one. It's late. There's probably not anybody on, so at best I'd probably get 2 or 3 helps this time of night on my European account. Oh, I got to get to 11. Oh, man. That's a lot more. That's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. All right. How to make an EU account? They used to not be restricted like 2 years ago when I made this account. You used to just be able to make an account and move it to whatever server you wanted to. So if you wanted to move it to an EU server or an APAC server, you could. And then I guess they realized there's some server issues and latencies and people were complaining, so they decided to sort of, close hold that a little bit, where if you're not in one of those regions, you can't make an account in that area. I'm gonna grab a sip of water here while we just wait for that for a second. Oh, well, in that case, I will save a tad bit of latinum. All right, so there's the cargo security. Now I can do that one. On the plus side, I'm also going to help improve my isogen mining while I'm at this. Always a fun thing to keep up with. So I guess that person got tired of hitting the button. And I have to get that one. I'm going to say watch me run out of refined isogen, but I think I have just enough left for that. Maverick, thank you very much for renewing with Twitch Prime. 6 months now. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. Robotsky, you're not a fan of how quickly you go through emulsion for territory research? It can, yeah, I mean, if you're not doing like, multiple chest pulls, some of the higher numbers, you can be stuck for a while waiting on ISO emulsion. That is very true. All right, so we're going to do this. That's going to drop me another 9%. While I'm waiting on that one for a second, I do want to go back and just sort of capture the number, because we're just going to look at a couple of things here, right? So we'll look at the warp drive. 7.7 billion is what it's going to cost me right now. 7.7 billion. Oh, by the way, thank you, Grey Ghost, for all the helps. Yeah, we're using up a nice big chunk of latinum here, but it's going to be well worth it, I hope. It's going to certainly be better than trying to use, like, you know, latinum to convert it. So it was 7.7 billion. That little bit there got me down to 7.6 billion. It was only a 9% upgrade, but hey, I just saved myself 100 million part tritanium. So obviously making sure you keep your research maxed is the moral of the story here on this one. Oh, I can also get another level out of this. That's going to give me another 10% reduction. Okay, let's go ahead and do that one too. Yeah, Robotsky, those 50 plus, once you get in the 50 plus ones and the higher, you know, the final tiers of a lot of these, they are really expensive, and you're basically down to doing like one a week. Um, definitely pricey for sure. All right, so 9% dropped us to 7.6. Let's see what else we can do here. Shave a little more time off of that one. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all the helps. Awesome. All right, now I got to get to 44 to go any further on that. So Parsteel, or I'm sorry, Tritanium, I always want to say Parsteel. Parsteel is what my other account is always stuck on. Tritanium is the holdback there, so that dropped it all the way down now. Now we're down to 7.4. And there are other researches in other trees, obviously take advantage of those. But the other thing also that's in your control to take advantage of is with artifacts, because there are some very nice artifacts that do help with your, this is for buildings, Mud's helmet, to make your buildings cheaper. Also good because it'll help save the resources for upgrading your ships. But the one, this is all efficiencies. This is isolytic damage. This is research. Getting this one done will help, again, save you for other things. But the one you're looking for here is Spock's Engagement Pendant, which is the one for ship components. And yes, there is an artifact event coming up this week, so this will be a good opportunity to save some pulls here. Obviously, you'll be running some formation armadas. Target the formation armadas that pay you out Spock's Pendant, because this is the one that is going to drop the cost of your stuff significantly. We're talking about Tier 1, 60% bonus. We were down to what, 7.4, I said? Well, bam. Let's just do that now. Now, how much further of an upgrade did that take us? That took us from 7.4 down to 6.4. Significant savings. And Spock's Pendant is easily sourceable. Where, you might ask? Well, heck, there's a chart for that too, isn't there? There are several charts for that. Where's the artifact one? Artifact Gallery and Formation Armada charts. Bam! That's the one I was looking for. Artifact Level Unlock Chest. Spock's Engagement Pendant right here. This is as far as you can get it. That's not the chart I'm looking for. I was wrong. Had the wrong chart. Please hold. This is the one I was looking for. Spock's engagement pendant drops off. This is where the chests in the artifact gallery, you have the likely opportunity of pulling it. But also when you're running the armadas, you have a chance of targeting specific ones as well. Where the heck is that chart? This is the one I wanted. Spock's engagement pendant drops off the level 40 uncommons. So as long as your alliance is capable of killing some level 40 uncommons, you have a good chance of being able to source some of these materials. Now, the level 40 uncommons are not the easiest. You know, they take a little bit of muscle to do those, depending on your alliance, of course, how easily sourceable they are. I think they're about 120 million strength each. Typically, you can get to just over 40, 45 million. You can probably take it down, which means everybody's got to have about a 10 million strength ship, which, if you're in your high 30s to low 40s, a maxed auger, maxed enterprise is right around 10 million. You know, one slightly bigger player with a bigger ship, a Voyager, a Talios, something like that, a G4 rare scattered between one or two places, from a bigger player doing a little extra burden sharing, or using a Titan buff, or popping an exo comp, you know? Should be ways that you guys can bring that down for sure. Yep, also the wrong chart. Yep, 40 uncommons. Thank you, Meme, for trying to help out. I wasn't paying attention to the chat, but that's also a good point that Meme points out, is the mess hall. Component tritanium cost efficiency. If you can get your officer crew levels up and you can chip away another couple percent here and there every level of your mess hall. So the limiting factor for Voyager is the tritanium cost. But it's the one you have multiple ways of controlling. And you're not entirely... You can go raid tritanium from other players. It's also a resource you can just steal. You know, so it's not like you're sitting around waiting for a refinery or waiting for an event or something like that, or a next milestone in a battle pass. And with Pike, Moreau, Chen locked on Voyager here and Hugh below decks, this thing is warp 300. I can go wherever I want. And in this particular case, I have to do my faction daily for the day, which only requires me to kill level 44s. But I'm going all the way out to this level 50 Klingon system. It's going to take me 6 minutes to fly out there, so. And when I get there, I'm going to kill some level 50 and 51 miners, because Pike, Moreau, Chen still works against those guys. And I'm going to get my dailies done. I'm going to get extra rep from those higher level targets. I'm going to get ship blueprint drops for stuff maybe someday I'll circle back and want to build. You know, it's like I'm getting Katinga blueprints from killing this stuff. I'm getting 41 miners that are dropping. Nope, keep going, past all these specialty ships. You know, I'm getting Bachor blueprints that are just dropping, not having to kill anything for it. I got 25 Katinga blueprints, again, not doing it. I've also gotten 6 Coronar blueprints. So I'm also in a position where, you know, I can hit stuff that may start dropping these if I want to build these someday. If this is the 46 I want to build, I can do a little bit of sourcing, you know, instead of just going after those heavy traders in the capital systems, which have pretty low drop rates. They used to drop better. I feel like they turned that down like 6 months ago or a year ago, probably at this point. So they don't drop these blueprints nearly as often as they once did. But getting out here in these higher level, high-end G4 systems, you can do some blueprint sourcing, if you will. You can relocate your base out here. I think you can go to Innos, I think, where you can relocate your base and save yourself some time and just fly over if you wanted to take that. So fleet commanders as well. I think it's Spock, right? Who has... Oh, would you look at that? Fleet Commander Spock. Didn't I just unlock him like a week ago? Yep, sure did. Oh, what do you know? We have an event where I need to promote officers. Well, would you look at that? How convenient. Let's spend some of that material and get Spocky Pants upgraded a bit here. That's storage. That's buildings that he lowers the cost of. It's his level 51. Tritanium cost efficiency for ship upgrades is all the way down here at the end. Oh, bummer. Well, we're not getting there anytime soon, so never mind about that. He does increases your tritanium storage capacity and does lower your tritanium efficiency for buildings, so it can help you save some costs on your buildings. Again, leaving you with a little bit of materials left over that you can then redirect to your ships. This is only while he's on duty, though, so you do have to make sure you switch him before you do any upgrades. Or, if you've gotten yourself to the point where you can have multiple slots, just slide him right on into slot number 2. And that should also be helpful, so... Nala is the system for mining. Oh, even better. So it's even closer. Thank you, meme. So Nala is the system where you could relocate your base to. And then you just got to move one system over. And you can do all the farming you want in Tejluk. And get that done. Belair asked earlier about the in-game news. Yeah, that went away like a week ago. And we don't know why, and we don't know if it ain't coming back at this point. It's been gone for so long. But the event calendar and stuff like that, yeah, that went away like a week ago when, some other things also kind of just went away. So. And as far as killing this stuff, I can probably go back and look at where things were. And that's the thing too, with that maxed enterprise or that maxed auger, which you should reasonably have by the time you get into your low 40s. I know you get stuck on a couple of those milestones. They get, expensive with some of those components. But even if it's not maxed all the way, you can still do your freebooters to get the majority of your dailies and stuff done. I have no trouble using... What am I using? My auger on these level 48s. Take a little bit of damage, a little bit of hull damage, but I only have to kill 6 or 7 of them to do my dailies. So I can get my rep up as high as I want, up to 48, pushing that up. Don't have to worry about, swarms and stuff like that, because they're much lower. They're tied to your ops level. But if I'm continuing to push my rep up, I can do freebooters, even if I don't want to go out and kill things this far out. Oh, that was not good. But if I scroll back, I might not be able to see it anymore. Here, we can scroll back here. I'm taking on level 50 traders. Barely taking any damage. Stocking up on survey parts. It's not going to show me the faction changes here, but taking very, very little damage. Killing the fight in 12 rounds. They're not hitting me very hard. Minimal hull damage. They only shoot once per round. I'm doing like 200k back. Hugh's not the best for these types of guys. because they only shoot once, but occasionally he does hit and trigger, and then you start popping off some bigger criticals. But even if you don't get too many in there, they're not hitting you that hard. And as far as what we're looking about with rep here, you know, killing a level 50, 7,500, 3,700 base value, and then obviously other modifiers go into it. Now, it's not a faction ship per se, so the galaxy research that only applies to faction ships is not helping you. But some of the other research is certainly going into it. The repair cost is also a little high, again, because of it's just, you know, trit expensive. But again, researches and things like that can help upgrading your dry docks and things, can help get that value reasonable. So I feel like the game has evolved to a point where that standard approach of, you know, unlocking a jellyfish just so you can do the events, so you can get the extra materials, so you can get a Valdore at 42, you kind of don't necessarily need to do anymore. You know, it's nice if you have a jellyfish just for the events because it's a lot of extra materials. But save the extra ore, save a lot of those ship parts, and just devote it all to Voyager, a ship that you're going to be carrying with you and using much longer in the game. That's my 2 cents. Whether you agree or disagree, that's entirely up to you.